Vegas created a second sun for itself in the middle of the desert, with the expectation that this sun would bring twice the brilliance to the city. But perhaps Vegas has forgotten that. Every sun needs fuel, and sometimes what's being burned is the very soul of the city. Once hailed as the miracle that revived Vegas after the pandemic, the Sphere is now becoming a financial wound, causing the city that once shone so brightly to gradually fade into darkness. The seats are emptying, the performances are no longer selling out, and the light that was meant to inspire the world is now reflecting humanity's ambition that exceeds reality. With enormous operating costs, content that cost tens of millions of dollars to produce, and an unprofitable business model, the Sphere is forcing Las Vegas to confront the most bitter question. Is the future truly worth it, when it comes at such a high price in the present? In today's video, we'll explore why that dazzling $2.6 billion dream turned into a nightmare, silently consuming Las Vegas day by day. Will the city find a way to put out the fire before everything turns to ashes? Let's explore with us right now. Las Vegas always knows how to bring the impossible to the desert, and in 2018, a new promise was ignited. The initiator is none other than James L. Dolan, the owner of Madison Square Garden and the New York Knicks. A man who was considered eccentric by the entertainment industry, but who saw in this desert an opportunity to build something no one had ever dared to imagine. And so, the Sphere was born, an emotional orb with an initial investment of $1.2 billion. It's not just a theatre, nor is it just an architectural structure. Dolan called it the most expensive entertainment venue on the planet, a cathedral of light and sound where each performance is not just to be seen, but to be felt with every sense. The chosen location is the prime land right next to the Venetian Resort, directly connected to Sands Avenue, the brightest heart of the Strip. That idea is like placing an artificial moon in the middle of the neon capital, where all eyes are on it. In the eyes of many, the Sphere isn't just building a building, it's redefining the very future of Las Vegas. A city where light isn't just for illumination, but also for awakening human emotions. The appearance of the name The Sphere immediately caused a media frenzy. Newspapers are calling this the second miracle of Vegas, inheriting the glory of the Bellagio fountains, but with the ambition to go further. Not just to wow audiences, but to restore their faith. They talk about that project as a metaphor for the city's regenerative capacity. Every time the world changes, Vegas rewrites the definition of entertainment. And in this new chapter, the stage is no longer flat. It encompasses space, sound, and touch. The structure of the Sphere is truly beyond imagination. It is 366 feet tall, 516 feet in diameter, covered with over 1.2 million LED bulbs that can display 256 million colors, turning the entire building into a giant screen visible from over 300 kilometers in the air. From afar, it is no longer an artificial structure, but a human celestial body floating among the sea of lights of the Strip, like humanity's own moon. But the most wonderful thing is inside. Entering the Sphere is like stepping into an artificial universe. A 16K screen surrounds 18,600 seats, hidden within which are 167,000 directional speakers, allowing sound to reach every person with a different experience. Two audience members sitting next to each other might hear the same piece of music, but their experiences will be completely different. For local planners and businesses, the Sphere is not just a symbol, it's an engine for economic revitalization. From the moment it was on the drawing board, people were talking about thousands of new jobs and the tourism boost that would lift the city out of its post-pandemic slump. It is expected to be a post-crisis miracle, serving as both a symbol of rebirth and a survival strategy for Las Vegas. The 2018-2019 period therefore serves as the opening chapter of an epic. The main character, the Sphere, appears with a magnificent background, and conflict is sown. Can a $2.6 billion dream revive faith in the American miracle? And expectations soared to the top of the lights on the Strip. From closed-door meetings to smoky coffee shops, from contractors to taxi drivers, everyone is talking about a planet about to rise from the desert. And amidst the doubts, Las Vegas once again gambled with its own destiny. The Sphere is not just a structure, it is a declaration of a bold dream written in light, placed at the heart of every path leading to hope. However, every miracle comes at a price. Less than a year later, as the first layer of light enveloped the Sphere, financial cracks began to appear. The $2.6 billion dream still shimmers in the night, but behind that glowing facade, Las Vegas is beginning to realize distant illusions can also consume the entire soul of a city that has long smoldered with embers. According to the plan, Sphere will be completed in 3 years, generating annual revenue of $400 to $500 million and net profit of approximately $50 million. The media at the time called this the second miracle of Vegas, a beacon of hope for a city regaining its luster after years of decline. However, that dream soon became more complicated. The COVID-19 pandemic caused the project to be halted for nearly 2 years. Meanwhile, the prices of building materials, electronic components, and labor have all skyrocketed. The numbers on the drawing were quickly swept away by reality. The overall cost soared to $2.6 billion, double the initial estimate. The outdoor LED system alone cost over $400 million. The beam-forming sound structure with 167,000 separate speakers consumed an additional $150 million. And the motion-sensing vibrating seat technology accounted for approximately $120 million. Upon completion, Sphere will have to spend approximately $500,000 USD daily on energy and cooling, with annual maintenance costs exceeding $100 million. By square meter, this is the most expensive entertainment venue in the world, surpassing even the Burj Khalifa. From a $1.2 billion dream, Sphere has become a $2.6 billion monster, devouring all financial projections. In theory, Sphere is designed as a perfect monetization model. The first source of revenue came from live performances, featuring big names like U2, Fish, and Dead & Company. Tickets average $400 to $1,000, and most are sold out. But the problem is that Sphere can only host 2 to 4 shows per week because it needs several days of preparation between performances. Low capacity makes it impossible to balance cash flow. The second source of revenue comes from exclusive films like Postcard from Earth, with ticket prices ranging from $99 to $249. Although initially popular, this format lacks repeatability because almost no one watches it a second time. Outdoor advertising is the third revenue stream, with an average rental price of USD $450,000 for every 4 hours of display, featuring brands such as Google, Formula One, PlayStation, Meta, Samsung, and Stranger Things. However, advertising revenue still only covers less than 10% of operating costs. Finally, brand and sports collaborations, such as the Las Vegas Grand Prix, the NBA Draft, or the CES Tech Show, offer a grand image, but low actual profits due to the costs of organizing each event separately. Everything looks good on paper, but in reality, it's like a fiery game of cards. The more it operates, the more Sphere loses money. Inside this emotional machine is a real money-spending machine. Each day, Sphere consumes the equivalent of 15,000 Las Vegas households worth of electricity. The enormous heat generated by the LED system necessitates the use of air conditioning and cooling systems worth approximately $50,000 per day. More than 200 engineers and maintenance staff work full-time to inspect thousands of LED light points, replace damaged modules, and ensure the system runs smoothly. Electricity, air conditioning, personnel, maintenance, and marketing alone cost nearly $100 million annually. MSG Entertainment's financial report for the final quarter of 2023 acknowledges that Sphere has made a global impact, but has not yet reached profitability. In that quarter, the project lost $98.4 million despite the U2 residency and strong advertising revenue. By mid-2024, cumulative losses had exceeded $300 million. The cause of this situation lies in the very structure of operations. The Sphere has enormous fixed costs, costing hundreds of thousands of USD per day, even without a show. Limitations on performance frequency lead to low utilization, while the cost of maintaining the LED and sound system in Las Vegas's harsh climate skyrockets. The content model is also non-repeatable. Postcard from Earth is a once-in-a-lifetime experience with no repeat customers. Sphere also has to bear significant debt servicing costs from MSGE bonds, with interest payments totaling nearly $120 million annually. An engineer who worked on the project said, "Sphere isn't a building, it's a living creature, and it's hungry for money every day." After the golden age of U2 and Formula One Grand Prix, the numbers gradually became cold. Despite a steady stream of customers, revenue couldn't keep up with operating costs. MSG Entertainment's stock price plummeted by over 30% in the first half of 2024 alone. The Sphere was forced to lay off over 100 employees, cut new content, and seek international partners like Abu Dhabi to expand a second Sphere model in hopes of balancing cash flow. The dream, once called humanity's technological miracle, has now become the most expensive lesson in the modern entertainment industry. Vegas believed the Sphere would be a money-making machine for the new century, but it ultimately turned into a giant furnace, where dreams were illuminated by lights and melted away day by day in the heat of human ambition itself. One evening in Las Vegas, people paid nearly $50 for a ticket, not to see a movie, but to sit inside the largest Sphere on Earth and watch advertisements. As the lights in the Sphere dimmed, everything began with a gentle voice. "Welcome to the future." The audience was both excited and confused. They were scanned for facial recognition right at the entrance, greeted and chatted with by AI robots as if in a science fiction movie. Everything is designed to make them feel like they are stepping into the building of the future. But many people describe this experience as both enchanting and chilling, as if they were participating in an emotional experiment rather than a film screening. The film shown in the Sphere is titled Postcard from Earth, is approximately 50 minutes long, with ticket prices ranging from $99 to $249, plus service fees that could push 2 tickets over $200. That's the same price as a major concert in New York. Upon entering the screening room, the audience quickly realized this was no ordinary movie theater. The steeply sloped floor was so tilted that many people had to hold onto the railings to maintain their balance. Some visitors have described online that they felt like they were climbing a mountain to watch a movie. Beautiful, overwhelming, but potentially dangerous. When the film begins, the 16K screen surrounds the entire field of vision. The wind blew, the chairs shook, thunder rumbled, and the image of birds flying was right before my eyes. In the first minute, everything was spectacular. But as time went on, the emotions became increasingly mixed and difficult to understand. Partly because the image is sometimes slightly distorted and uneven between LED zones, and partly because of the film's message. We've been too blind, just wanting to see our own light. It's a warning about climate change and human arrogance. But the audience is sitting in the brightest building on the planet, consuming millions of watts of electricity every night. That contradiction made the dialogue suddenly perfectly ironic. And it was also the moment many people realized they had paid to see themselves reflected in a mirror of consumerism. Outside, Sphere doesn't sleep. Every day, it rotates 3 to 4 advertising campaigns, with an average cost of around $500,000 for 4 hours of display. A smiling emoji face a giant minion character, a Formula One symbol, or even a one-piece balloon. All of these took over the Las Vegas skyline one by one. Every time the screen changes, the sky seems to disappear. A local resident told the news agency, "From my apartment, I can no longer see the stars, only an annoying technological light that shines every day." For many residents, the Sphere is no longer a marvel of the future, but a giant breathing billboard, reminding them each night who truly owns the city's lights. Of course, there are still people who think that experience is worth every penny. For visitors, the Sphere is a place where they can touch tomorrow, where technology becomes art. But for the locals, those lights each night are a reminder. Vegas is slowly selling its sky to global brands. When technology is used to attract attention rather than evoke emotion, the line between artistic experience and advertising campaign becomes more blurred than ever. There's a paradoxical truth reshaping the soul of Las Vegas. The city once built from popular dreams is now betting it all on a luster of luxury. The Sphere, tech icon worth $2.6 billion, is more than just a building. It is a manifesto that Vegas has chosen a new direction, pursuing class instead of mass, luxury instead of sharing. But the price of that choice is evident every day. In the 1970s, Vegas used to be a place where you could buy a buffet for just $1.99, drink 50-cent beer, and watch legendary shows by Sinatra, Dean Martin, or Elvis Presley. It's the time of fun for all, when workers, veterans, or truck drivers can all walk into the casino, eat, sing, and feel like they belong here. But in the 21st century, that city has changed clothes. Budget buffets disappear, replaced by $25 cocktails, $55 resort fees, and show tickets that can reach $1,000. Vegas no longer serves the people who created it. Now, the middle-aged audience, group that was once the soul of the city, is marginalized. The Sphere is the clearest symbol of that trend. Everything inside it is designed for absolute exclusivity. From viewing tickets, audio, to slideshows, all are strictly controlled to ensure only those who can afford it can experience it. But that model contains a deadly paradox. Sphere operates on a one-venue, one-show mechanism, meaning there is only one content for a single space. When guests finish watching, they did not return. No reusable elements, no online version, no copyright release, no tour. The whole value chain is blocked in place. A product lives only on curiosity, then fades away when one has seen enough. At the financial level, that spiral becomes dangerous. Parent company MSG Networks is saddled with about $850 million in debt, amid the highest interest rates in years. Every quarter, the Sphere has to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on operations, maintenance, and pay, interest, but the revenue comes from only a few finite sources: tickets, advertising, and special events. Financial experts call this high cost, low scale. Model: huge cost, limited scale. A formula that is almost impossible to sustainably profit. An analyst from Bloomberg likens it to the Ponzi spiral of entertainment technology. Everything only stands firm as long as there is new cash flow to feed the old illusion. For many locals, the Sphere is no longer a pride, but a symbol of separation. When Vegas was once built from the belief that everyone is welcome, now that light is only for the few who can pay the price to get inside. The rest just stood outside, watching the ball glow from afar like an artificial moon illuminating the difference. From afar, the Sphere looks like a glowing planet, a symbol of American tech pride. But if you look closer, it looks like a giant mirror reflecting modern society. Brilliant, expensive, and full of contradictions. While the audience inside is watching Postcard from Earth, a movie about the destruction of nature by humans. They are sitting in the middle of the most energy-consuming building on the planet. Millions of LED bulbs, thousands of beamforming speakers, hundreds of thousands of watts of electricity. all light up the message about the awakening of humanity. That irony makes the film the perfect metaphor for America, a country that once led the world, now trapped in its own bright yet dazzling. Online, many people call Sphere the giant meme of the 21st century, expensive but meaningless. A symbol of the era of worshipping technology rather than art, where value is measured by screen brightness, not viewer emotions. Even Vegas, residents who once proudly called the city the capital of freedom, now complain that they have lost the sky. A resident wrote on a local forum, "I opened the window and saw a smiling emoji face looking into the bedroom. I don't know whether to laugh or cry." But the Sphere's light not only dims the stars, it also takes up public space. Every night, brands alternate advertising on the building's surface. Logos, characters, products. The whole city is surrounded by a living billboard worth billions of dollars, and the people are just a reluctant audience. On the deeper level, it's not just the story of Vegas, but a metaphor for the whole of America. A society where attention becomes a resource, where people live in artificial light and lose the ability to see what really matters. That picture is complete when we leave the center and look from afar. Makeshift huts lie at the foot of the Sphere, opposite abandoned buildings, and police cars quietly pass by. Above, the artificial moon still rotates evenly, reflecting a reality that few people want to face. The rift between aura and reality, between national pride and lives left in the dark. Over the past year, the Las Vegas Sphere has become a global phenomenon, not only because of its breathtaking appearance, but also because of the haunting financial statements behind that light. By the end of the first year, construction costs had exceeded $2.3 billion, accumulated losses were more than $500 million, and parent company MSG Entertainment was still saddled with an additional $850 million in long-term debt. An icon of futuristic entertainment is now struggling to prove that he has a real future. While no one denies the magic of the massive LED display technology, 16K sound, hundreds of thousands of vibration sensors and directional lighting, Sphere reveals a cold 21st century truth. Innovation cannot exist without a practical financial foundation. Technology can wow the audience, but if every minute of operation burns millions of dollars, all the bright lights are just beautiful, short-lived, and fast-fading. Fireworks. Now, the company that operates Sphere is looking for a way out. One of the plans discussed was an international technology concession model, bringing Sphere's technology and content to Abu Dhabi, where local partners would bear most of the construction costs, with Sphere providing only technical systems, data, and content rights. The objective is to translate financial risk into a technological export model. Reasonable sounding idea turns money-swallowing ball into clonable intelligence. But the biggest question lies, can they successfully reuse content on different domes? A movie like Postcard from Earth is specifically designed for the 16K structure of Las Vegas, which makes cloning to another space almost impossible. If Sphere cannot recycle content or scale the model effectively, it will continue to fall into a loop of huge costs and short-term profits. Perhaps the biggest lesson of this $2.6 billion Sphere is that the value lies not in the brightness, but in the durability of belief. When technology no longer serves emotions, but only to prove strength, it will lose its soul. As Vegas is losing its own soul, the Sphere did something no one expected: turn a desert into the center of the world. But it is also, in its most brilliant way, that exposes the downside of the technology era, where people are willing to burn billions of dollars to buy the feeling of going beyond the limits of, then realizing that all true limits lies in trust and connection. Vegas may have created the most spectacular structure in the world, but the price to pay is not just money, but the soul of the American dream. Dream was once built from simple people, not performances million watts. If the light of the Sphere reflects the whole of America, what will we see? Pride, or the blindness to the light we create? If you find this story worth pondering, please leave a comment, sharing your feelings about Las Vegas' $2.6 billion dream. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to join us in exploring other hidden corners of the American dream that is changing color every day. The content in this video is compiled from many public sources, financial reports, and reliable media materials up to the time of production. All data, quotes, and comments are presented for the purpose of analysis, education, and commentary, not to draw financial conclusions or judge any individual or organization. This work does not represent any political, commercial, or legal point of view, nor does it encourage investment, purchase, or criticism of any particular business. Some details can be reduced or rephrased in terms of storytelling, analysis, cinema, in order to help the audience better understand the overall picture of the problem. People are encouraged to verify information through official sources before drawing their own conclusions. All content is intended only to provoke reflection, not to create prejudices or to call for concrete action.